Hi folks, welcome again to the channel. Juan here from Physical Media EU. Today we're gonna review this A24 shop exclusive version of Everything Everywhere All at Once. For tuning in for this review of Everything Everywhere All at Once. But before we start, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you're interested in physical media, especially Blu-ray and soundtrack in vinyl reviews. Besides that, you can also find me on Instagram with the same handle, Physical Media EU, where I post detailed pictures of the items that I review. Now yes, let's move on and take a look at this presentation. This is an A24 shop exclusive release of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Here on the back is written sideways, let's say. And this is one of the collector's editions. You can see up here, I also have Midsummer. This is the fifth, if I'm not wrong, together with The Green Knight, Lighthouse, and Last Black Man in San Francisco, that they have this kind of like taller presentations that normally they don't fit on the shelves, which a lot of collectors find a little annoying. I think I'm fine with it. I prefer to display it like this, so it's not a height issue in my case. Let's move on and see the inside of the release. So it is a media book. You can see here on the front is printed on this shiny paper. You can see it there a little bit. I apologize, of course, for the reflection, but that's why I post pictures on Instagram. So there's nothing on the back. On the side here, it just says A24, and you can see it's a media book presentation. So once you open it, here we find the 4K disc, which has the donut from the movie on that side, and on the other side you can see these tabs here that is like a file, right, making a reference to the movie. And once you open it, it has these two pockets, right, with things inside that we will check now in a second. So let's start with the first side. So when you remove the things there, you can find the contents of the disc. One thing that I found a little, not sure if annoying, but maybe a little bit, is that there's no technical like a description of anything in this disc. For example, if you want to know like if does the movie have like Dolby Atmos or whatever, like you just don't know until like you play the disc or if you watch this channel. So I think that's something that A24 could improve about these releases, because it's the same in all of them. There's no technical details about any of the discs. So let's see what's on the first side of this folder. We have a receipt here. Then there is this kind of like a photocopy. You can see there maybe a little better. Both sides. So this one is just the front. And this one has also like handwritten notes on the other side. So this is very interesting, I think. Very nice to have for collectors, especially if you're a big fan of the movie. Reminds me of that recent 101 Films release of Memento that also came with similar props. Now moving to the other side. When I remove these things, there's nothing on this side here. But let's take a look at the items that come here. Here's a carbon copy, I think, from another receipt in yellow paper. Then here is another receipt. You can see like it's the same like they came in the movie. And then there's this foreword written by Hiro Murai. This is also a very nice thing to have. And there's also a poster. This is also a very nice thing to have. You can see there the poster looks very nice, I think, with a lot of references to the movie. And last but not least, on this side there are credits about the cover and the poster, etc. And the last thing on this side, this is actually very nice. It has this little booklet that has like all the faces of Michelle. You can see. There. So I guess if you pass them very quick or something, you kind of get the similar effect to what you see in the movie. So I think it's a very cool prop that they included in this release. So that's it for the presentation of the release. Now we can move on and talk about picture quality. If you have been in this channel before, you might have seen that I have reviewed this movie other times. I have actually reviewed a 4K Steelbook. You can find the link up here, and also a Nova Media Blu-ray, where you can also find the link up here. And just as I said those other times, this 4K disc looks super good, but there's one thing to consider here. The 4K version of this movie looks super good, and it's also the same in this case because it's the same transfer, where colors are quite intense, and the 4K provides a lot of details, especially in textures, I thought, like in the faces, I mean, like in the skin, also the textures of the clothes and on the walls. I think those things were very, very in the 4K version. At the same time, and as I said in the previous reviews, the Blu-ray version of this movie is also very, very good. So there's not so much difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K. Yes, you lose a little bit of detail, especially in textures, as I was explaining before, but color-wise and so on, it's not all that different. So specifically about this release, you need to consider that there's only one disc. So when you buy, you need to decide if you want the Blu-ray or the 4K. And of course, the first limitation is your setup. But if your setup supports 4K and you're after this version, you should go for the 4K. There's only $5 difference. I'm not sure why, like in previous releases from A24, there was only $2 difference between the 4K and the Blu-ray, making it basically a no-brainer if you system support 4K. But if you don't, you always can go to the Blu-ray version, right? But in this case, and for the first time, the difference was $5, so the price of this version is actually $50. Now, coming back to what I said before about the technical details of the disc, it's not mentioned in the package of the disc, but this release actually has Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. And it is a very good audio track, but in the Blu-ray it sounds as good, and it is an excellent audio track with a great soundtrack. Now, talking about bonus features, this release is actually packed. They are listed here. Let's take a look. So first of all, it has mini documentaries, where two of them particularly I found very interesting because they are actually somewhat technical, where one of them is about the animations in the movie. There's a lot of talk about how they did the donut and like some animations around it, and the second one of them is about making the score of the film. So now after watching this one, I wish a little more to have the soundtrack in vinyl. One thing to mention about that is that the soundtrack is not A24 shop exclusive, so you can find that one on many websites here in Europe. It's a similar case as the soundtrack of Past Lives, which they sell on the A24 shop, yes, but you can also find it on other websites, including here in Europe. That, of course, is an advantage because you shorten shipping times and don't have to deal with the taxes and import. Besides those documentaries, there's also two shorts by the Daniels, one of them from 2014 and the other one from 2011. These two, the same as the documentaries. As I said, I have reviewed the other versions. This is new stuff. This is not in the other versions, so it makes this release more valuable. There is also another featurette about choreography that was also quite interesting because, you know, this movie has martial arts influences, so you see some of that in this featurette. There's also a set of deleted scenes, and lastly, some bloopers compilation. Additionally, there's also a bunch of audio tracks like with commentaries, for example, including one, of course, with the Daniels. So, is this release worth your money? In my opinion, it definitely is, especially if you're already collecting these A24 exclusive sets. I think this might be one of the best ones they have released so far, especially because there's a lot of bonus features and it includes a lot of physical props. This might depend on what kind of collector you are. I like the physical props, so I really appreciate a release like this one. With that said, maybe it would have been nice to also include a little bit of a booklet like they did in other releases, for example, like in The Lighthouse, but we cannot always get everything. With that said, I still prefer my Nova Media release because I prefer full slips in general, and Nova Media makes extremely, and Nova Media delivers amazing quality with a steelbook and also physical props. If you're interested in that review, you can find the link up here. And that was it for this review. If you liked it, please consider subscribing to the channel. And you can also find me on Instagram with the same handle, Physical Media EU. Remember that I will post detailed pictures of this release in there, and I would love to hear from you in the comments what do you think of this movie, and if you're interested in this release or one of the others. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all at Okie Dogs.